Hey everyone, let's go through another set of slides. Sarah here, and this one is called the Ten Paramis. This is a new word to me. Am I pronouncing it right? Let me know. Paramis? The Ten Paramis, perfecting virtues on the path to enlightenment. Okay. The Paramis represent 10 perfections of character. Mm, essential virtues. Are virtues the same as values? Maybe not. I think of like the outward, how like women have high sexual value when they're young, especially, but then you get older and you lose some of that. You need to like, you should always work on your inner virtues, right? But anyway, that's what it makes me think of. The Paramis represent 10 perfections of character, essential virtues cultivated by those seeking enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism. I'm not well versed in Buddhism at all, so this will be really interesting. Never heard the word Theravada. So there's types of Buddhism? Put it in the chat, put it in the comments, let me know, inform me. We'll learn together. This journey invites us to develop these qualities, okay, these essential virtues. I want to work on my virtues, right? Do you? Like, I want to work on my character, my values, all of this. This journey invites us to develop these qualities as we navigate our spiritual path. So my hope is that you guys will see these videos like a journey. Like because it's a journey for me, right? And like, do you want to come on it with me? Like it would be your own personal journey, right? We're gonna have different thoughts and feelings and right? Um, but yeah, come along. This journey invites us to develop these qualities as we navigate our spiritual path. Yes, I am on my spiritual path. I'm moving. Dana. Is it pronounced Dana? Like the name? Or Donna? Donna? Generosity. Cultivating selfless giving. Okay, so this is our first virtue. Generosity. Donna, you guys are gonna have to help me out with this one. I'm not gonna know the pronunciations. I just don't. Donna, I'm gonna go with, represents our capacity to give freely without expectation of return. So I love service and it's selfish, right? Because it's like if I'm in pain, if I'm going through something and I try to be of love and service, like sometimes I'm feeling great and doing that anyway, because when you connect to yourself and to love, like it just flows through you, right? To everyone and everything. But also when I'm in pain, I can use it to get out of my head, so to speak, or like feel better, like help another gives me relief, right? Dana represents our capacity to give freely without expectation of return. It challenges our attachments to possessions, praise. I tend to like, I notice needing external validation, right? But it's so much better when I connect to myself, do meditation, all these different practices that I do where I feel, oh, I don't need that. I don't need that from whoever, right? Like I have it already. Okay. Which of these do you relate to? Like, do you have attachments to things, praise, personal gain? Okay. Material giving, sharing physical resources. I'm so impressed by people who have little and share anyway. My boyfriend is like this. He's very giving. I think of him like that childhood book, right? The Giving Tree. Like he will give and give and give almost to a fault, right? I'm not like that. No, I do have a lot to give, and sometimes that flows through me. But okay, sharing physical resources, food, money, and possessions with those in need. Fearlessness. Ooh, fearlessness. I'm attracted to fearlessness, bravery, right? Directness. Like these are some values that David had pointed out when I was getting a little confused with the values video, a little bit triggered by that one. Okay. Fearlessness, offering protection, safety. So this is another way to give is to be fearless and offer protection, safety, and emotional support to others facing difficulty. So I do have a strength here sometimes when I'm, connected myself to give support to others, to be able to hold space, to be comfortable with darkness, to be safe for someone. And I think because I didn't feel I had that in childhood and I needed it, like I've learned to give it to myself and also to get it from others and then can give it, can also provide that, um, just in regular life, but also through like I do coaching and stuff. Okay, knowledge. This would be my boyfriend, I feel like he's a mentor, right? He has lots of knowledge and loves to share it with others. Sharing wisdom, teachings, guidance to help others grow spiritually. Cool. All right. Here's our next one. I'm not going to be able to pronounce any of these. Scylla? Scylla? Sia? Scylla? Morality. Morality. I've always been interested in morality since I was little. I like to read fables and things like this. I was raised atheist. How about you? And honestly, like I felt so lonely and disconnected. Um, Morality. Living with ethical integrity. Scylla forms the foundation for all spiritual development. Without ethical behavior, concentration and wisdom cannot fully develop. It creates harmony in our relationships and inner peace. Five precepts. The fundamental ethical guidelines include abstaining from killing. Yeah, no kidding. Like, don't kill anyone. Okay. Stealing. Don't steal. Sexual misconduct. I guess some details might be needed there. That seems to be a personal thing. Lying. I recently got honest about something, and what a freaking relief, right? Intoxication. Okay. I think it would need more information. Like no drinking or what? Okay. These aren't rigid commandments, but training principles for mindful living. Yeah, I mean, in general, to be sober or to be mostly sober, right? Okay. Right livelihood. Earning a living in ways that don't harm others. I'm at a place in my life where I'm trying to not harm others. Like, I didn't ever mean to harm people, but I did, right? Like in relationships and things. So that really appeals to me. Like, how can I live in such a way that I'm not harming anyone, right? Earning a living in ways that don't harm others or violate ethical principles. Yeah, like what's your priority? Like very, very cool this week that I put honesty above everything, like willing to lose it all, right? All of it, you know, my relationship, my career, right? Like everything. Because that needed to happen and I finally chose that and it felt wonderful. Okay, earning a living in ways that don't harm others or violate ethical principles is essential to moral integrity. Our work should contribute positively to society. So, like in my Soma breath work, we talk about, connecting to power because if you do this type of practice, there's power. Like you connect to power, but power for good. That's what the founder of Some Breath always says, Niraj Naik. Like, make sure it's for good, and be careful who you're teaching this stuff to because you want to make sure it's used for good. Like, you can really reach your dreams and start to create in the world. And, like, how is that going to help others is an important question to ask, right? Virtuous thought. Morality extends beyond action. Like, what's going on in here? This has been a problem for me all my life, right? And these practices that get me out of here and override it, like somatic practices, right? That's why the breath, like going in through the breath, through the body, that's what works for me. If you haven't tried it, try it. I mean, it doesn't have to just be breath work, right? Like any way you can go, like don't try to think your way out of stuff. Get into your body somehow, right? And maybe try getting into your breath. There's many, many different ways to do that. Morality extends beyond action to include the cultivation of wholesome thoughts and intentions. And again, like for me, I don't want to harp on this too much, but the breath work gets me there. Like I sometimes I could like write, right? All and I'll be like, wow, my thoughts are terrible. And I could write back to them, speak back to them, change them, but it's quite tedious. Sometimes that's useful. Much, much quicker hack, right, is for me to do that breath work and then all of a sudden it overrides all of this and I have better thoughts and less thoughts and clarity and downloads and yeah, connecting to your consciousness, right? Like feeling the love. And if this all makes no sense to you, it's because you haven't experienced it yet. I can help you experience it. Many other practitioners can. So keep seeking until you have an experience, right? And then you'll get it. Then it'll make sense. And then it just gets better and better, I promise you. Okay. Morality extends beyond action to include the cultivation of wholesome thoughts, recognizing that mental states precede verbal and physical actions. Yeah, but don't try to just correct your mental state with your thoughts, with your mind. Oh Lord, these these words are killing me. I don't know how to pronounce any of them. Nakama? Nakama? Renunciation. I like that word, renunciation. I like words. Letting go of attachments. Wow. In this picture. Oh, I like that. Um, what are those lanterns that you put out and they float away in the night sky? I don't know what you call those. Release and renew. Okay. Nakama invites us to recognize how clinging creates suffering. It doesn't require abandoning everything, but rather developing freedom from compulsive desires and attachments. Yep. This perfection teaches us that true happiness comes not from acquiring more, but from needing less, finding contentment in simplicity. So, like, you can just focus on gratitude. Like, sometimes I can't hold all this, right? Like, but just like, thank you for, it's a prompt, right? If you can't, it's just, I can't do, thank you for, and just start, like, what can you be grateful for in this moment? Even though all these bad things might be going on, whatever, what can you be grateful for? How can you get present in this moment? Even if it is like feeling that desire or that need or that like whatever like you want that you can't have or something, that attachment, even if you let yourself feel that, that's happening in the present moment. You can do body scan, you can use your senses. What do you see right now? What do you smell? Observe your breath. What do you taste in your mouth? What can you hear? Move your body, right? Like get in the moment. Okay. The three types of renunciation: renouncing material possessions, simplifying life. I love this. I absolutely love this. I hate clutter and I do struggle with it. In fact, this is inspiring me to clean my room and get streamlined, right? Renouncing unwholesome mental states, anger, greed, like holding on to resentment. I've really done that, and I'm at a place in my life where I'm beginning to finally let go of like some of the big ones, right? Um, renouncing fixed views and opinions, intellectual attachments. Cool, cool. Like I could be wrong. Okay. Hana, wisdom. This is cool. Developing clear understanding. All right, we've got four things here. Study, learning Buddhist teachings. Like, are you into Buddhism? Put it down here. I'm going to a Dharma recovery meeting this week, and I went last week. I think that's related to Buddhism. I don't know. This kind of Buddhism is kind of new to me, unless you know what I find in my life is that a lot of things aren't new and that I know, but that I don't know like what they're labeled as. Like last night, I went to an amazing event and I thought I was going to learn about like light language and all these things. And really, I'm like, I already do all of this. I just didn't know it was like called a certain thing. So, okay. Study. Learning Buddhist teachings, studying texts, and receiving instruction from qualified teachers. I mean, this is inspiring to me, not just for Buddhism, but like let me pick up a book. Like when's the last time I read a book and what is attractive to me right now? Like what book would I like to read and what can I study? I want to get deeper into the because I'm a Soma Breath transformational coach and however, I feel like there's still so much more to learn in that curriculum. Like I want to dive into that. Like what do you want to learn? What do you want to what are you drawn to study right now, right? My friend and I might start a book club. Okay, application. Living wisdom in daily life, making decisions aligned with understanding of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Okay, so impermanence, nothing's permanent. Feel great, that'll pass. You feel terrible, that'll pass. Everything passes. Suffering, okay. I mean, without suffering, how do we appreciate the light, the good? I don't know. Okay, it's part of the package, it's part of life. Non-self, I'm not sure what that means. Non-self, I'm not sure. Reflection, contemplating deeply on teachings, questioning assumptions, analyzing experience. This can be fun. I enjoy that. Meditation, direct insight through sustained mindfulness practice and deep concentration. I love meditation. I tend to sort of accidentally meditate in my Soma breath practice, right? Like I like that whole thing. I find benefit sometimes in sitting silently, right? Or just unifying as I learned in Isha Judd's system. But I really like how the music and the breath overrides me. And then as I'm holding breath, for example, I will drop deep. There's so many different kinds. There's guided, you could just sit and listen, like observe your senses, right? So what appeals to you? You don't have to do a certain kind. Like what would you like to try? What have you tried? What do you like? Okay, Hana or wisdom goes beyond intellectual understanding to a direct perception of reality as it is. So, acceptance, reality as it is. This wisdom recognizes the three marks of existence: impermanence, anicca. I'm learning all sorts of new words. I don't think they'll stick though. I'd have to put it up on a sticky on the wall or something. Unsatisfactoriness, dukkha, and non-self, anatta. Okay. Oh boy, here's another one. Virya, virya, energy, sustaining diligent effort. Virya represents the courageous energy and persistence. Courageous jumps out to me. I guess I'm just attracted to this like bravery, directness, courage. I'm 46 years old and I'm kind of like, just gonna fricking go out there, right? Virya represents the courageous energy and persistence needed to continue on the spiritual path despite obstacles. Yeah, right? What are some obstacles you've had? Have you thought about quitting the spiritual path or like choosing to stay small or safe or right? Or are you gonna go forth? Like what's happening now? What are your challenges? What's really painful or difficult? And what's your choice? Like, are you gonna keep going? I'm gonna keep going. It's the antidote to laziness. I can be lazy and procrastination. Although, you know what I noticed, like in this amazing event I went to last night, where I was guiding ecstatic dance and rhythmic breathing, and another person was really mostly leading, like, we're channeling, I mean, it was amazing. People were doing all sorts of things and speaking in tongues and channeling and chanting and excuse me, singing. I mean, it was beautiful. So my point of this is like, wow, did I have like, was I on fire, right? Like on fire and so much energy. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I am not as tired as I think. Okay, so you might not be as tired or lazy as you think. You just might not be around the right people or doing the right thing. So go in the direction of your joy, right? Okay. And also, yeah, sometimes I need to push myself to take actions. Okay. This is the antidote to laziness and procrastination. The Buddha describes four aspects of right effort: preventing unwholesome states, abandoning existing unwholesome states. I guess I would relate more to like transitioning them, transmuting them, transmutation, right? Exalting them. Yeah, through like a gentle, feel-good practice of like soma breath, but that's me. Okay. This developing wholesome states and maintaining existing wholesome states. Cultivating virya, establishing consistent daily practice. Yes. Best thing ever. Morning practice for me. My practice happens to be soma breath, breath work, meditation, inner child work, hearts work, ecstatic dance, shaking, you know, sometimes writing, sometimes talking to God, like, you know, connecting to my higher self. What is your daily practice? Have you found one that you love? Like, pick one you love. Don't feel guilty about not doing ones other people do. Like, what do you want to be doing? What calls to you? What do you like? Okay, setting clear intentions before activities. I like that. Reflecting on impermanence for motivation. So how does that motivate you? So like if you know everything's gonna change, does that motivate me? I don't know. Okay. Finding joy in wholesome efforts, creating supportive conditions and community. I love community, and I've been isolated, like severely. I mean, most of my life I have spent very, very alone. And now, now that I've connected to me, right, and my consciousness, and I have these practices, boom, I am suddenly so social, but with the right people, right? For me, like there are right people for you. Are you around the right people? Yeah, community, tribe, awesome. And I want to create tribe. So if you feel like you like me, please, reach out to me. I am building a community, actually, I notice in some ways. Like a friend said to me, like, wow, I want to join your whatever. Like he is joking, right? But he's like, your commune or whatever you're trying, like, because he could just sense that I'm trying to like connect people and build something. And yeah. Remember, balanced effort is key, neither too tense nor too relaxed, like tuning a musical instrument. Okay, cool. What's next? Kanti. Patience, embracing calm endurance. Let's look at this picture. Ooh, so like there's lightning happening, but the tree is like illuminated by this and like beautiful swerving roots. Interesting. The quote there says, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can, and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." Absolutely, but you can get help. You can ask for help and you can, yes, do it yourself, but it's not like you have to just do it yourself. There's so much help available. So reach out. Okay. Kanti is the capacity to accept difficulty without agitation. Like I'll be prone to like, but I want that, but I want that, but I want that. It's that attachment thing, right? Yeah. It doesn't mean passive resignation, but an active, mindful response to life's challenges. Okay, physical patience. Like patience is not one of my best characteristics. I feel like my boyfriend would let you know that. Okay. Enduring discomfort, pain, illness, and physical challenges with equanimity. Social patience. Responding to criticism, that's a hard one for me. Although now that I'm happier and so much more connected than I used to be, it's less triggering, right? Okay, responding to criticism, aggression, difficult people with understanding rather than reactivity. I love when I'm in that mindset and it doesn't bother me and I just care about that person. That feels great. I want to connect more and more to love so that that is how I am in the world. Okay, dharmic patience, accepting the gradual nature of spiritual growth and the natural unfolding of practice because stuff happens bit by bit. That is how it's been for me so far. And yeah, I tried to force it and make it happen faster. And now it's like, I mean, I'm in an expansion, right? But I'm sure there will be a contraction because we all expand, contract all the time. So, all right. Saka, truthfulness. I'm so relieved to have gotten honest about something. Phew, feels so good. Okay, honoring honest communication, dimensions of truthfulness, verbal honesty, speaking what is true, useful, timely, and kind, avoiding falsehood, divisive speech, harsh words, and idle chatter. So I can struggle with like being too harsh, like being too mute, and then it comes out too harsh. So I could work on that. Inner truthfulness, being honest with oneself about motivations. I love this. I love examining that because it feels like connection with myself. And that's what I felt I didn't get in childhood was like reflection of my true self. So like I can do this, right? And connect with God, connect with people, whatever. Okay, being honest with oneself about motivations, shortcomings. It feels good to like be honest about that stuff and the reality of one's experience. It feels really good to be honest, right? You could write, you could talk out loud to whoever your higher power is, to yourself, your higher self, person. Okay, ultimate truth, aligning one's understanding and actions with the Dharma and the true nature of reality. So I would need, even though I'm going to this Dharma recovery meeting, I would need a definition of Dharma. I don't know that. It's new to me, right? Okay. Saka requires courage. Courage, yep. I like that. The willingness to see and speak truth, even when uncomfortable. I just went through something like this where I thought I could lose it all. Everything I care deeply about. And I chose truth. I freaking chose truth. I'm so excited. It builds trust in relationships and creates inner alignment. So, like, I have done damage to my relationship from being dishonest. But guess what? If you are doing that or you have done that, you can correct it. And then that person gets a chance to respond however they will. My boyfriend responded amazingly, and we're getting closer again. So it's beautiful. It builds trust in relationships and creates inner alignment. Yeah, speaking your truth. Like I forget because I didn't feel it was safe to speak truth a lot of times in my life, but I forget or didn't understand how much that hurts me to not be honest, right? So that's a big one for me. Okay. And I don't know if you guys relate to this, but I tend to be either like super rigorously honest or, okay, it's not safe, I'm just gonna lie. So, okay. The Buddha demonstrated this perfection by making the truth accessible through skillful means, adapting his teaching to the listener's capacity for understanding. That's beautiful. Adapting his teaching to the listener's capacity for understanding, like meeting someone where they're at. Wow. Can we do this for others? Mm, maybe I could do that with my mom. Meeting her where she's at. Okay. In daily practice, we cultivate truthfulness through mindful speech, honest self-reflection, and integrity between our words and actions. Cool. I love it. Oh boy. Please tell me how to pronounce these words. Aditana? Aditana? Determination, strengthening unwavering resolve. Determination. Cool. Aditana represents the firm determination necessary to sustain spiritual practice through challenges, distractions, and changing circumstances. And I would say triggers. Like if you're sensitive like me and something triggers you, like you want to shut down or whatever, like keep going. I mean, because a trigger is the perfect opportunity. You don't want to, but like to go in, to connect with you, to learn about you, to do all the stuff that we're reading about right now, right? That is the perfect time. And to rewire your brain, by the way, if you have some negative programming. So this perfection manifests as an unshakable commitment to walking the eightfold path. Okay, so I do remember reading about the eightfold path in last week's Dharma recovery meeting, which someone suggested I come along to. Okay. Regardless of obstacles or temporary setbacks. Okay, so being committed to walking the eightfold path. We'd have to know what that is. Like, even though I read it last week, I don't remember. Okay, here's a quote. Just as the mountain rock remains unshaken by the storm, so too the wise person remains unmoved by praise or blame. I like that. That's something to aspire to. Metta, loving kindness, extending universal compassion. So I feel this happens naturally in my practice. When I connect to me, when I touch my consciousness, when I do my breath work meditation practice, I'm activated, right? I'm connected to my heart, and then I go to the grocery store and I'm just connecting with people, right? Like it's just natural. But let's see what it says here. Metta is the heartfelt wish for all beings to be happy. So I think of David, free all beings. And I did shout that out in my event last night. Okay. Exponential education, full moon fusion. So I want to like put a plug in for, coming into these events, his events, because they're super cool and platforms. All right. It extends gradually from oneself to loved ones, neutral persons, difficult people, and ultimately to all beings without exception. So with difficult people, people who trigger you, like you don't like something about them, it's an interesting idea. Like if you point a finger, like how many are pointed back at you, right? I mean, it's something to consider. So, like, if you, for example, don't like when people are arrogant, it's like, don't you need to consider like the arrogance within you? I don't know. It's just something to consider, right? One thing I like to do with difficult people or, somebody I'm triggered by is sometimes close my eyes if it's not too weird and try to hear the words. like try to tune out the stuff that's kind of like rubbing me wrong and like, but wait, can I get something out of what they're saying? And usually I can. So I don't know. Characteristics, unconditional, not dependent on worthiness. This is a big one for me, like self-worth, right? Like sometimes I feel amazing and definitely worthy. And my practice drops me into that where I will have a download like that. Like I am absolutely worthy, right? I'm great. But yeah, that is something that I've struggled with, self-worth, and I know probably many of you out there have, right? Like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, right? Recently when I was lying about something, I'm like, well, I'm not worthy to speak to God, because I'm lying. Okay. Non-possessive, free from attachment. This is beautiful. I can feel very attached to things, to people, but when I do sort of let go, boy, that feels good, right? Okay, inclusive, extending to all beings. Yeah, like when you're connected, it just sort of, like I said, comes out naturally to everyone and everything. Active, expressing itself in word and deed. Yep. You'll just start doing stuff, like I find myself like saying the thing. If I think something like, oh, I really like how that person, whatever, say it. Like, why keep that inside? Tell them, like I appreciate when people share stuff with me. Benefits. Sleeps easily and wakes refreshed. This sounds nice. I do struggle with sleep still. Protected from harm by positive energy. I love it. Mental clarity and concentration. Love it. Peaceful death and favorable rebirth. Ooh. Okay. Practice. Formal meta meditation phrases. May you be happy, safe, healthy. So I like with resentment to pray for that person. And it doesn't have to be a specific, I'm not talking about a specific religion or anything, right? But like asking for that person to have what I want, right? And this is maybe something similar, may you be happy, safe, healthy. Maybe somebody triggers you and you think that in your head. May you be happy, safe, healthy. Challenging relationships as opportunities. Okay, so I'm going through a big thing with my mom. So yeah, it's an opportunity. It's a big deal that this is, it's been decades coming. And we're finally speaking. This is incredible, right? Mindful self-compassion as foundation. Yeah, be nice to you, support you. Okay. Meta transforms our relationship with ourselves and others, gradually dissolving boundaries created by fear, aversion, and self-centeredness. Okay, cool. Oh boy. Upeka? Equanimity? Finding balance in all experiences. Maybe if you're off, if you're swinging, finding balance. Upeka is the quality of mental balance that allows us to be fully present with experience without being swept away by reactivity. It's not indifference, but wise, compassionate non-attachment. So maybe also observing yourself, living, being, enjoying your life, right? But also like watching you, awareness, right? The four reflections of cultivating equanimity. One, all beings are owners of their karma. Understanding that everyone experiences the results of their actions. Oh, wow. I'm like, right? Two, impermanence. Recognizing that all conditions change. This too shall pass, including pleasant and unpleasant states. And we don't know what's good or bad, right? Like something bad might end up having a total silver lining for you. So, okay. Three, the universality of suffering, seeing that all beings share the human condition. So I'm not, the only one suffering. Like There's so much suffering out there. Okay. 4, equality, recognizing our fundamental sameness with all beings. It's so funny because so long I was isolated and in my head and felt different. And it's like now that I'm out, connected with me and talking to you, it's like, no, we're all the same, like more or less, right? Like, okay. Equanimity provides the stable foundation that allows other virtues like compassion to flourish without burning out or becoming overwhelmed. Okay, so balance. Here's a quote: looking at life with the calm understanding that all things arise and pass according to conditions. Okay, let it float down the river. Oh, nope, there is another one. Integrating the Paramis, the Paramis daily practices for spiritual growth. 1, morning intention. Begin each day by setting an intention to cultivate one or more paramis. For example, today I will practice generosity by sharing my time and attention freely. 2, mindful awareness. Throughout the day, pause regularly to check in with yourself. Notice opportunities to practice the paramis in everyday interactions. 3, challenging situations. Use those triggers. Use difficult moments as laboratories for perfecting virtues. Ooh, cool. When angry, practice patience. When confused, seek wisdom. When attached, practice renunciation. I could use that one right now. 4, evening reflection. Set aside time each evening to reflect on how you express the paramis during the day. I mean, reflecting on your day, whether you're using this paradigm or a different one, is good. Whether you do it at night or you're tired at night like me and you do it the next morning, like how did you do? What worked, what didn't? Like, yeah, looking at these virtues. Celebrate successes. I always forget to do that. Celebrate successes, especially if you're like having a tough time and like really scared and stuff, and you take a baby step, like celebrate that, reward yourself, and learn from the challenges. Yeah. Okay. The Paramis are not separate practices, but interconnected virtues that strengthen each other. Oh, okay. So they're all related, and as we develop one, we naturally cultivate the others. The journey of perfecting these virtues is itself the path to awakening. So I love awakening, okay? Like my awakening came through soma breath, through breath work. Boom. But here we go. Like another way to awaken, practice these virtues. And I am interested in that. May all beings perfect these virtues and find true freedom. I love that word freedom. Yeah, let's find true freedom. Beautiful. Is that the last one? Yep. Hey, so please put comments. Like, I want to know your thoughts. That's what I want to know. So please engage and see you next time. Bye. Oh, hey, want to let you know we're putting out videos Wednesdays and Saturdays. Saturday mornings, Wednesday evenings, I believe. So just, if you like these, keep watching for them. That's when they'll be posted. So see you next time.